Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to build this little shed for our off-grid power system. If you guys are following our channel, you know we built this greenhouse and we want to make it off-grid power. Don't miss the time lapse at the end of this video. We started this process by building a foundation, and we'll leave you a link to that video at the end. Hey again, welcome back, and let's pick up where we left off. At this point, our pad had been setting for about 7 days, so it was time to take the forms off. I just used the Sawzall to cut through and then just knocked them off. I was a little disappointed when we started this process. We had watched the weather the day that we were getting ready to put the pad down, and there was like a 3% chance of rain. And we got the pad poured, and we're just going through all the motions, and I look up and here comes this cloud, and we rushed to throw plastic over the top of it. It made little marks on the top of our concrete. It's not going to be a functional issue, but it was a little disappointing. We were really trying to do it well, and it made it so that we couldn't really do it doesn't look as good as we want to. I think I may come back and put like a leveler over this at some point. And I do understand some of you are going to say this is just a utility building, but it's one of those things, if it bugs me, it bugs me. Take a look at the ground right here, and you'll see that I did something wrong. If you see what it is, leave it in the comments. I didn't mean to do that, and I done it all day. This is the first time I've used this technique, but I've seen it in the housing industry, and it's where they'll compact the soil and then pour a pad over the compacted soil that's above the grade level, and then they'll come back in and put fill dirt around the poured pad, and it encourages water to always drain away from it. And it was pretty easy to shape this. I think you could do this by hand very easily, but because we got the small tractor, it made it really easy. Here's a funny little fact. I didn't order a truckload of gravel because I just kind of forgot. And so when we got over here to do this, it just slipped my mind, so I had to steal gravel from my driveway. We put our driveway down very thick, so I don't even know that it will ever notice, but I'm going to get some more gravel in. This gravel is made up of sand, red clay, and red rock, and it just is an awesome media for packing around stuff and building up because it packs so well and it's easy to work with. Even when it's a little bit wet, you can still work with it. We've always called it crush run around here, but every time I say that, a lot of people say, well, that's not crush run, so what do you think it is? And maybe I'm wrong. It's really important to get that grade just right so water is always draining away from that pad. Here's the star of the video. We got this from an online company called Patio Well, and it's an 8x6 metal building. At the time of shooting this video, this little metal building was $450, and it's like one of the best deals on the internet for this type of building. I'll leave a link below, but the building went up really easy, and it seems to be very solid after it's all done. If you're thinking about getting a little building like this, make sure you watch the whole video, because there are some times that you're concerned about things, but once you see how the directions walk you through it and then how the final product is, it'll put your mind at ease. So it looks like, darn it, this is going to take two of the screws, F1, and it shows the longer one going over the short one, which it seems like you've already got that figured out.
However, the might be the other way around. Short one goes on this end, so we're on the other end. I don't know that would matter, but I'm sure it will. Yeah, you see the little notch there.
There's no like pilot hole unless I got. Okay, there you go. My mistake.
I don't think it was a mistake. I think we just figured it out. Okay, so we're going to put these screws in, and we're going to use our drills to put the screws in. It's really important that if you're going to use your drill that you have an adjustable clutch drill. It's like this drill, you can adjust how much torque goes on the screw. So we have it to its lowest setting, and that's what we're going to start out with. I don't think we're going to need much more than this because this is sheet metal. We're not going to need a lot of torque.
So it turns out the directions are really good for this building, but you know, you really kind of need to read them if you want to understand them. So we had to take a couple of these apart because we didn't read the direction. It's clearly marked. They have numbers on each piece, and the pictures are very good. And even I failed at that. But after just a few minutes, we started really following directions closely, and the whole building just started coming together really quickly and very easily. I think the instructions are really well thought out. They're really good English. It's clear.
Still got a little bit here, but when we go to put it down, we'll tweak that out. So I would guess the best thing to do is to set the back wall permanently, and then
jiggle what we need.
Yeah, because I think we're gonna be so close with the concrete because I would really went out of my way to make sure the concrete was square.
Okay.
Set it down.
So in true Tony fashion, Tanya, John, and me, we made a really good plan about how to put this down. And then I just started working and did it totally different. It all ended up okay. I really wanted to put down butyl tape, but the way the frame was made, there really was no good way of doing it. It was going to cause the frame to cant. So we ended up using a good quality silicone and then just turned it over and set it down. And you know, we both got silicone everywhere on us, and that will never come out of your clothes.
Grab a hold to it. No, right there. Set lip. Set it on the lip. Right here.
So this is where communication is really important. So I handed Tanya the level to use it as a straight edge, but she thought that I wanted to make sure the frame was level. And all I really wanted was just the metal frame to stay straight because that's where the two seams come together. But it took us all a minute to figure out what each other were talking about. It's kind of funny now, but then we're like, this is going to be a long day.
Okay, I'm going to sit down.
It needs to go, your side needs to go over some. There you go.
Good?
It's not in the middle.
Okay, let's just get this set down like this.
So we bought Tapcon screws from Lowe's, and it comes in a little kit where all the screws and a concrete drill bit. So that was a neat little feature. I thought that just was time saving. And the drill that I'm using has the hammer drill feature. This is 5,000 PSI concrete, so it was really hard. And I found out later on that it was much better to have the drill on the fast setting. And it never bogged at all on the fast setting, but it definitely went through the concrete a lot faster. This first hole I was like, again, it's going to be a long day.
close it right in, so you don't have to pull back. Number 2 seems to be the one. All right, so now we need to rack this.
So here's one of the nuggets of truth. It is so important to get this piece square and right. I can't emphasize it enough. I built a little small building like this about 20 years ago, and we got it all squared just ever so slightly, maybe an inch out of square, which is kind of a lot for this. And that building was horrible to put up, and it never was right. None of the doors worked right. So this is the point where you really have to slow down, take time, and make sure you get it right. So what we ended up doing was putting one screw in the corner of one piece, and then we squared it. We must have done this like I bet we did it 4 or 5 times. And then after we put each corner screw in, we came back and rechecked it, because once you start putting the walls up, you can't undo this. This is pretty much a done deal.
110 and a quarter. All right, I went a little bit here. So I'm 110 and 3/8. 110 3/8.
Each one of these side pieces come in 2 pieces, and they're put together. So we used a long straight level to make sure that they were truly straight before we drilled the holes and mounted the screws in it. And that worked out really well. You can really tell it's a lot faster drilling those holes with that drill in high. I'm probably sure it would burn the drill bit up faster, but at this point I didn't really care. I just wanted to get this done.
A little bit of bow to it.
I want to take this opportunity to brag on my good friend John here. He has been helping us around the farm, and he's our neighbor, and he is a very, very smart man, wise man, and has helped us do things that I'm pretty sure would have not went near as well without him around. Okay, I guarantee. He just has a passion for working. So this is a neat feature that was not in the last building I built 20 years ago. Each hole was pre-drilled, so it really helps you keep on track. Even the holes are drilled in the tin and the frame that you're drilling into. Now, at this point, you kind of feel like, man, maybe this thing is not going to be that strong. Then you realize that as you put each piece together, the way it's engineered, it's not one piece that provides all the strength. It's all the pieces put together makes it strong. So just know when you start out that those first few pieces are going to be a little bit flimsy feeling, and you got to make sure the wind doesn't take them down. But after you start intertwining all the pieces together, the building becomes very, very rigid. We've already had we had a 50-year rain already, and we've also had some severe wind, and the building went through it great. A little tip as you're starting these panels is don't tighten the screws all the way up at this point. You want to leave them, you want to put them in just enough where there's still a little room for movement, but that it's not flopping around. After you get all the walls up, you come back and make sure the walls are square. You can kind of move them by pushing around a little bit. and then you can tighten them down, and then your whole building's truly square and level. And that is a very good thing when you start putting the roof on. Our roof went on very easy. It was and all the holes lined up on top. So that's my tip. When you get to this point, this will be another point where you're concerned that it's, hey, this is kind of not very rigid, it's going to be kind of flimsy. And I promise you, once you start putting the panels all on, this thing will become super rigid. It's engineered to work together. Individually, each piece is not that strong, but overall, it's very strong once it's done. Each one of the panels has a number on it, and it's, again, follow the instructions. It goes very easy. Follow the instructions, and all the holes line up. There's already holes in the rail at the bottom and at the top so you don't have to do any pre-drilling. You don't have to do anything like that. And the fact that the holes are already drilled, it keeps you in line. Keeps everything pretty square.
Please don't hesitate.
I will.
I read online somewhere that you could put this building together in about 2.5 hours. And I want you to know I took that as a personal challenge. I knew I could do it in 8. And I would tell you guys to put this building up with a couple of moderately skilled people. You can put this up very well in about 8 hours after you have your pad poured.
This ledge
Yeah.
should be equal to that. Any case over here is probably well good enough for this. It's got to up and down too.
So if you're looking at the tin, you can see like little marks in the tin, and that's a plastic coating that's over the tin. I thought it would be easier to put the tin up and then take the plastic coating off. I may have been wrong. It took us a good while to get that little plastic coating off, and it left like little scragglies. It'll come off in time, and it's no big deal. It looks good, but it may be better if you go ahead and take that plastic coating off without all the screws and things kind of getting in your way. So we're going to go ahead and jump on over to the time lapse from start to finish. And I think I've gave you all the tips and things that I remember that was kind of important for this build. But if you have any comments or questions, just leave it in the the comment section below, and I'll do my very best to answer the questions as intelligently as I possibly can.